Have you ever had a traumatic experience? You see, the reason I ask is because I have something that I need to get off my chest. I've kept quiet on this mainly out of shame, but also because I just don't want to remember what happened. Now, though, I just can't hold it in anymore. It happened when I was hiking through the woods one day. This was something that I tend to do whenever I was losing focus on my schoolwork or whenever I had gotten bored. While I was exploring, I came across this old abandoned house, the kind of thing you'd expect to find in some cheesy horror film. So, as you can imagine, I walked right in. Once there, I began exploring, making sure to close the front door behind me. This was a habit I had developed after being scolded for letting the heat out too many times. There was nothing out of the ordinary besides a few collapsed shelves and broken tables. Eventually, though, I came across a locked door. What got me, though, was the massive lock that held it shut tight. It was much larger than anything you'd typically find, so it had to have been built after the house was initially constructed for a specific purpose. This caused my overactive imagination to run wild. Maybe there was something valuable down there. Maybe there was someone trapped down there and I could be a hero and save them. And so I began the grueling process of trying to get the lock to open. I picked up chairs and bashed the door repeatedly. I must have used almost everything I could reasonably swing to try and break it apart before it finally opened. I made my way down the steps, thinking about what I might find, though what I did stumble upon, needless to say, was not anything like what I was expecting. At the bottom, there were at least 50 human skeletons, piled up on the floor. My morbid curiosity brought me just close enough to see that they had been covered in bite marks, as if something was gnawing on them. The whole place smelled like rot, and I very nearly threw up at the sight. I couldn't take it anymore. I turned around, ran up the stairs, and out the door without stopping until I got home. I didn't get any sleep for the next 5 days. I never told a soul about what I found down there. I had always hoped that someone else much braver and stronger would go down there and report to the police so I didn't have to. And maybe someone did, but there's one point they won't be able to report. Now, I remember this event vividly, and I can recall every last minor detail. And after a few years passed, I had an epiphany. You see, I know for a fact that I closed the door behind me when I entered that house, and when I went into the basement. Yet, despite this, I can't recall opening them back up when I was running away. I didn't notice or care at the time because I was just too scared. This leaves me with two possible conclusions. The first is that I was followed when I went into the basement and I had escaped just in time. The thing is, you would think that if this was the case, that my pursuer would have been right behind me, about to strike as I turn around. This leaves me with only one other conclusion. Nothing followed me into the basement that day. Rather, by breaking the lock and opening the door, I had set something free.